Today is October 28th, 2017. I'm Tom. I'm here with John. This makes me think of the gun control debate. That just seems like a very good example of if you were raised in a Republican region in the South, you're more likely to be more pro-gun.
That's also like location.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're growing up in the Wild West, sort of, it's much more needed to have a gun. Or that argument could be made. Like even in Maine, like my dad got a gun after he moved to Maine, just because it's like you're just in the middle of the woods, and it takes police a long time to get to your house, and so people are just scared. Whereas if you're in a suburb or a city, you feel much safer because you're around tons of people.
I think the question is, if I'm armed with a gun, does that make me safer or less safe? It's so easy for me to just accidentally shoot myself, you know. I mean,
yeah.
When you're carrying
That's what they say. It's much more likely, of course, that for suicide, for accidents, for kids to kill themselves, if there's a gun in the house.
It's like if there's a shooting at a bar, some people say, well, everyone would have been safer if everyone at that bar was armed at the time of the shooting. But if everyone was armed, then any of them could have been the shooter, as opposed to the one guy who actually was the shooter. You know, I mean, if everyone's armed, then that just increases the probability that one of them is going to... It just seems to me like a probability thing. Like, if you think about it mathematically, if you carry a gun for protection for long enough, eventually an accident's going to happen. Eventually, you're bound to shoot yourself by accident, shoot someone else by accident. You know, it's just like an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, but I think people would much rather I think it's like a control issue too. It's like people would rather be in control. They'd rather shoot themselves than the 1 in a million chance that somebody shoots them, because they don't want to be under any circumstances with no control, you know, over their life. So like, even though there's a higher chance of them messing up, the quality of life is much better carrying a gun in general, just because they know that there's like no chance that they'll be without it in case something bad happens, or because they'd be so afraid of something bad happening with them, but they don't have a gun. A lot of people say it's almost like a mental. It provides peace of mind to have a gun in the house. A lot of people say that. Like I just have the gun in the house for peace of mind, just because you never know.
Well, there are other weapons that you can use to protect yourself that aren't so deadly.
That's what I don't get. That's the biggest thing for me. Is like, why can't they just make something that's non-lethal that just stuns somebody? Honestly,
Yeah.
It just seems so easy.
Yeah.
Or not easy. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's really hard to make something like that besides a stun gun, or I don't know. Yeah, like a stun gun's one thing because you have to keep it charged and stuff, and I don't know. It has a bad range, and you only have one shot. So if you miss, then you're screwed. But there's got to be, like, with all of our technology and these geniuses, like, it's incredible to me that we can't come up with something that's non-lethal that still provides, like, protection. It just seems so ridiculous that we're relying on these ancient... I mean, they're really ancient technologies. You're gunpowder behind a piece of lead, and you're just flinging that lead into somebody's chest. It's so barbaric if you think about it. And I can't believe that, like, we still think it's okay to have these extremely dangerous things around.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a good alternative to a gun.
Maybe like a flash grenade or something, but in a gun form, just to stun somebody. I mean, pepper spray is pretty good, but it's just you can't. It doesn't activate very far. It's like 10 feet max or something.
The more guns there are in the country, the more gun violence there's going to be. I mean, it just seems that simple to me.
I mean, it is that simple. It's pretty obvious here in the U.S. that's the case.
A lot of conservatives say that guns don't kill
people. They just be using cars to mow down 300 people at once.
people kill people with guns. So it's the person plus the gun.
It's guns make it easier for people to kill people.
Yeah.
Isn't that it? But yeah, it's amazing, like the logic gaps that, it's like, how can you even think? How can that even be an argument? That's just so absurd. I can't even believe that people actually, like, and that's a very popular thing that you see all over the internet.
Yeah.
It's not guns. It's people. Guns are safe. It's just people.
I guess these people think that most of the time guns end up saving lives, and occasionally a mentally ill person gets a hold of a gun, and what we have to do is we just have to stop the mentally ill people from getting the guns. And once we do that, then everyone who carries a gun will be a safe, responsible gun owner.
Right.
But there's always going to be mentally ill people that are going to get their hands on guns if it's so easy to get access to guns.
Yeah, or people that are sane and become mentally ill after they have their gun.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at this point it's so ingrained in our history and society that I don't know if we're ever going to be able to change it. This new generation maybe, but it's going to take 50 years, I think. It's just so ingrained. It's part of our history that we need to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. So just this massive paranoia that we don't see much, but that's really extremely prevalent in those types of communities in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, we should be at all costs trying to remove things that make it easy to kill people. We're not selling grenades, so why are we selling guns?
Yeah, we wouldn't sell nuclear bombs to people.
Exactly. It's what's the limit, I guess?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out. It's between freedom and safety for society. And right now, many people would rather be unsafe than have their freedoms taken away. Their freedom to buy a gun or to buy a dangerous weapon.